12 teams have been eliminated, only 8 remain, and today 2 more will fall. Welcome back to the Six Invitational. I'm Jackie Jing, and I am with Dev and Mandy. Mandy, makeup on point, girl. She had the butterflies. Dev, what happened here?
I actually did have butterflies this morning.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, but they were getting a little bit itchy, so I took them off.
Okay, you were getting itchy. You were getting excited about this matchup that we have ahead of us. Exactly. So let's dive right into it. We got M80 versus G2. They're both scrappy. They're both chaotic. They're both titans here at SI.
This is a fight for survival, Jackie. It's a North American team versus an everything but North American team. G2, what a great story it has been. They have failed to make top 4 at every event since they were champions here in Montreal in 2019. But we'll get more to that later. M80, they've been exceeding expectations.
Yeah, let's start off with M80, actually. Mandy, they sent SSG packing yesterday, and a great interview with Kino. He was actually like, we're fans of G2, and we closely watch them. So I was like, what?
That must be so cool, right? Like, you finally get into the lobby, and you're going to go play against your idols. That is awesome, first of all, just to go ahead and say that. But I actually think it makes a lot of sense for the way that M80 has developed over the last year. They've really got this very strong 5-man calling style now, with Spirits, who's the main ideas guy of the team, but really it's on the onus of all 5 players to be directing each other, to be directing their teamwork, and that's exactly how G2 structure their roster as well, and that's exactly how they have these really great tactics and micro gameplay in the server. M80 are really starting to get good at replicating that.
Yeah, their styles kind of mirror each other in a sense.
They do.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, they absolutely do. I think M80 in particular, they're a little bit younger than G2. They've not been in the international scene for as longer, so a lot of them have a little bit more inexperience with it. But you can see with every series that these guys go through, they become more fluid. Their comms become more put together and composed, and they just get on the ball with ideas a lot more quickly. And I think I'm just excited to see them go up against G2, because like playing against your idol is a very special feeling.
I'm excited too. Dev, we also have to speak about Diaz. This is a versatile player. He makes huge contributions to this team.
He's versatile, and I think he's going to be on the shortlist for the event MVP. You call him Diaz. I'm going to kind of spin a story here that you could call him Fragmite. This man is a support fragger. He has the tied best survival rate in the tournament alongside Julio, who we've talked about a lot. The difference is Julio also has one of the least kills in the tournament because he's never in the engagements. Diaz does not shy away at all. He puts up the numbers. He never gets picked early. See that opening KD ratio of 1.83. That is insane for a support player. It means he's still getting into opening engagements, but he doesn't lose them. He's so consistent and he's impactful every single round. You can see second best KOST rating in the tournament. This guy is insane.
Yeah, Diaz, M80, both looking fierce, but let's talk about their opponent now. G2. I mean, where do I even begin here? Mandy, G2 knocked out FaZe and Dark Zero. They have to be exhausted. They have to be drained. But all I can think is Coach Fabian is just like injecting them with energy right now, because that's how he does.
That's the way to go, honestly. Fabian, as a coach, brings so much value to this team. I was actually going to go out for dinner with those guys yesterday, but we just ran into each other and they got sleepy and decided to stay in the hotel instead.
They're like, we're canceling plans.
Yeah, no, really. They were thinking about going out, and then they were like, we are not leaving this hotel. We're so tired. We're just going to stay inside. But really, Fabian has come back into this team, right? He's come back into this organization, and he's completely reconstructed this roster after all the adversity and turmoil, pretty much, that this roster has been across the past 2 years. He really gets into these players both headspace and strategy-wise. I think he's able to really touch on both those things as an ex-player himself. He just brings a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom that he can pass on to these pass on to all 5 of these players. And I really think that he's put together this roster. He's like architected this roster in the most like genius way. It's just so brilliant to watch.
Dev, he's a legend.
He is. He's won 2 Six Invitationals, and he has very high expectations as a coach because he knows he can still do it as a player. That's what he said last night to me. It was like, look, I may be a coach now, but if I did some aim training for a few weeks, I could play just as good as my players. And I think that means that if they're failing, he knows he can do better, and he won't accept failure. We saw that the other day in that tactical timeout when G2 really started to struggle. Fabian, he knows exactly what to do to whip them back in line. For 4 years, it's been less so G2 and more G-Who. They haven't even managed to get past top 4 at any tournament. And I think, Jackie and Mandy, with this roster, we're finally seeing a squad that looks capable of raising a trophy again.
You know, Dev, it was interesting because earlier you talked about M80 combining play styles. I mean, G2 brings multiple regions together. You were also emphasizing that, and they are aggressive.
Oh yeah, this is an international melting pot. It's a EU, APAC, Brazilian cocktail. They've experienced competing in lots of different regions, and they mix the best of lots of different play styles. I really love their aggression. Like you're saying, they just push and push. They trust their playmaking. They trust that aggression, and they don't expect anything less than the best out of every single match that they play. They know that they are better, and they will demonstrate it in the server.
Okay, I believe we are ready to get into the map veto process, working to get that information up on your screen right now. Here it is. All right, Mandy. Oh, girl, what you thinking here?
What am I thinking? What is going on? So I think that G2, once again, are doing the G2 thing where they're going, okay, we can play all 9 maps, so let's just ban out things that we think that M80 are good at. So G2 have gone ahead, they've taken out Border and Clubhouse, both like sort of mid to high tier maps for M80, in my opinion. Not only that, but they've gone ahead and picked Villa as well, which is not a super great high-performing map for M80. It's actually typically their second ban as well, going into these BO3s. So I think G2 so far doing pretty well in the veto.
I'm going to touch on that Villa one again. Like, G2 are on a 3-match winning streak. They played it against FaZe, SSG, and Koi this tournament. Particularly Koi, obviously a very, very powerful team, and G2, that was their opening match of the tournament. They took that victory. On the flip side for M80, like you said, Mandy, they do ban this Villa a lot at Six Invitational, and they actually haven't played it since September when they took down Mirage in a very tight 8-6 in the NAL Stage 3. So for M80, this is a map where there's no doubt about it. They have had to have been working on it in the background. And if not, we might see a game perhaps as dominant as the Villa we just saw between Koi and W7M, which would spell disaster for M80 to start the series.
Just to quickly go through the vetoes a little bit more, so M80 going for Oregon as well doesn't really surprise me all too much. It's one of their very clear maps in their map pool, in my opinion. The thing that surprises me the most is that actually, like you said, letting Villa through the veto. M80 going ahead and banning out Skyscraper instead of banning Villa does mean that it leaves G2 open to pick between Villa and essentially Chalet, in my opinion, as like what would be the better 2 maps to go up against them. M80 always have this permaban of Cafe, and as a result, it sort of leaves them a little bit more inflexible in the veto, whereas I think that G2 really had a lot of free reign to pick their weaknesses here.
Okay, predictions time. Ooh, this is a hard one. Dev, who you picking?
There's only one way to do it, Jackie. It's gotta be G2.
Wow,
Gotta be G2. Look, I have so much respect for M80, and they have achieved so much, but elimination is on the line, and I have seen some fire from these guys on G2. I can't see them doing any better, doing any worse, rather, than taking down M80 here. I'm even gonna go and say it's gonna be a 2-0.
What?
Oh.
Okay. Dev being bold here. Mandy?
I think this is a battle between the student and the master, right?
Oh, love that.
Very classic battle between student and the master. I think ultimately for M80, they're still young. They still have their time in the scene. These G2 guys, I reckon they've got to prove to us why they are the masters of the scene. And I think 2-0, look, that's a bit ambitious. I think M80 have got a bit more in them. I think it's going to be 2-1.
Okay. Y'all, I have chills right now. Someone's going home. Who will be eliminated? M80 versus G2. Blue and Stokes, take it away.
Thank you very much, Jackie. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, to get ourselves ready for the next matchup here on the Alpha stream for the final day of just our play out here before we move ourselves over to the main stage. Of course, it's going to be M80 going up against G2 for this matchup. Both these teams have been playing their hearts out. Both had really promising matchups in their most recent play as well. So this one I think is going to be a real clash of the titans, so to speak, to get our real winner and figure out who's going to be moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. G2 and M80 have both been absolutely fantastic for a majority of this tournament. G2 especially has been a force to be reckoned with. We'll get M80 on the screen here for you, but both of these squads in their own right, so fantastic at what they've been doing. Vivas, a lot of energy, the coach in the back for M80 here, and this man, especially Gomez, been rocking the world. Him and DS Locust have been playing extremely well for M80. You can say the same thing about Kino and this man here for G2 and the likes of Alamau.
Certainly the case. And Once again, those are some of the big players that we like to talk about going into this series. Alamau, of course, being the big pickup that G2 had when forming this super team, and alongside him, Doki, who struggled, of course, in the earlier matchup yesterday, but was able to rebound and give it actually a pretty impressive performance when everything was said and done. I think he used the term menace multiple times, and the fact that he would constantly just pop up on the roam flank for defense and on just normal flanks, of course, for the attacking side as well, and shut down multiple players when they were playing against their opponents yesterday. So we see that type of performance echo out once again. That could be a problem for M80 when we get into that late round situation. They may still be able to exercise their reach in the early round with their aggressive roam game, which we've been seeing play out quite well throughout this event, but later on in the round, that's when those players like Doki can potentially come back into it, maybe shake things up a little bit to give G2 some chances to close out the rounds as well.
Yeah, and this is where things get interesting because both of these rosters have been playing in full. We do have a couple of things that could really lead to some major problems, especially for G2. Blur hasn't been playing all that great, -27, but he is playing Thermite and Mira, so in some harder positioning just based off of what position he plays for his squad. So got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. We'll have to see once we get into the server what G2 can do up against the likes of M80, who have been playing extremely well. Spirit's in a very similar boat to what we see with Blur here too, so -35 with a .82 for the tournament, but he's had some big rounds himself. You can say that about both of these players. So with all things considered for both teams, quite neck and neck, somewhat different play styles, but all in the aggressive basket and all here to come to bear on Villa. We are just moments away now from getting into the server.
Apparently it's a moment.
Yes, indeed. I think, yes, we are. We're hitting that big S button, John. We're getting in right now. So, enough about the stats, enough talk. M80, G2 Esports, a battle for the ages. You guys heard it here first. G2 have not been top 4 in quite some time. G-Who is what Dev said. M80 trying to keep that as such.
We'll see if they can keep them in that status. 68% of you, however, believing that G2 is ultimately going to win this one. Doke is the first ban out on the board as we get into those. Second one going to come out in just a second. G2 having the middle bans, meaning they get this last attacker ban and first defender ban. Flores is their choice for an attacker ban. For Villa, makes perfect sense as far as I'm aware. Most of our sites are interior to the building, and I've explained that's where the power of Flores comes from, being able to access those usually locked down sites and take out utility pieces that you would otherwise not be able to get. Solus is the first defender ban. Once more, we've been seeing her first in the pecking order quite often, either be banned or picked the majority of the time. That will align pretty well with that, and we can expect the same thing from like an Azami or a Valkyrie more than likely here for the final ban on M80. And actually, no, Mira. So they'll take out the Mira windows. Once again, perfectly valid option here as well, just the less chosen one.
Yeah, and this is, yeah, funny enough that you actually say that because Mira has finally worked away out of the top 3 banned, most banned operators rather, on defense. 21% pick rate, 19% ban rate. Most picked in banned as of right now is Azami, quickly followed up by Valkyrie, and then Solus, which will also be banned out here. She's been so very strong throughout the tournament, but a lot of teams favoring to ban out Azami or Valkyrie over her, and I mean, why not? Azami has been the most important operator to Rainbow Six Siege in quite some time. Do her freeform utility. You have those kunai knives to apply Kiba barriers around and make it to where there's some more fortification for your team. Practically anywhere, John. You can set it up on anything. Little, you know, guardrails, walls, soft walls, anything. Very creative utility, and that's what we all appreciate it for.
So G2 works their way into round number 1 here. And we'll continue to watch out to see what M80 will bust out themselves on the defensive side of things. M80, so take a look at them. We're going to be bringing a Legion into this one to kill out Gomez to roam things around. Overall, it's a pretty light setup in the actual site right now. I'm curious to see how many players are actually rounded back over towards it, but
a little bit of a fold here for you guys as well. A little tidbit about DS Lucas. He's actually our 3rd highest rated player that we have in the server. Not only that, but at the LAN as well. 1.22 plus 38 here. Best in the server, rather. So he will be ahead of everybody else. But the key thing here, playing a lot of Thermites. Well, M80 going to be starting off strong here, taking out the hard breach, speaking of it, of Virtue on the Ace. So But yeah, DS, Lucas, in fact, the only Thermite player for a country mile, John. I think it takes about, what would you say from there, all the way down to here? Probably like 30 players, 20 players?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a little while to get all the way down to the next Thermite player there by rating, so quite interesting fold there. But he does play a more aggressive op on defense with that Wamai. So, see if that provides anything for M80 past this pick that they've gotten initially in the first minute.
Needed a bomb.
Taking the hostiles!
Alamau and the rest of G2 still looking to try and line up their positions here. As we're still sitting pretty early on the timer now. I haven't really stressed that too much as of yet. M80, of course, really having their own defensive setup tested too much. So they've been called back for the most part. Forced into the depths of their sight hold. They're perfectly fine to wait this one out. Doki, in the meanwhile, tries to go making a play in through Death's Door. Ends up getting caught out there, is able to return a little bit of damage onto Diaz, but the double nade comes through for Benja. Finishes off the health pool of Diaz and then knocks Spirits down outright. The combo for G2 here is going to bring them back into the round now.
Big pickups, Spadoki with some serious contributions inside of the site. He's down players. It's up to Yaga now after Alamau will clean up that body. Yaga's been forced out as well. He's still on rotation over here on the red stairs. Nitro Cell graced the top floor, but nothing comes from that nice little shot there as he'll remove Alamau from the play. Low HP on these two remaining members, as well as the case in the hand of Benja. He's going to have to rotate all the way over to Games. Yaga might have the timing. Here it comes, pre-fire through. Oh, and that's a huge mistake from Benja. Doki, though, he might have it. He's going to step up. Yaga shuts him down. Oh, my. M80 came to play.
M80 lock in their first round. With a beautiful clutch coming out from them as well. G2 not going to be happy with the results unfolded there, but at the same time, always fighting for the back end of that round anyway. Lost the opening kill, was able to get things back under their control after they got that double nade kill, but just could not contain it inside of the clutch. M80 is able to come out with it instead. So they lock down that site and they'll move over to the other side of the map now in trophy statuary for their second hold.
Yeah, G2 with a flurry of blows, but they forgot where the case was, and it was well out of reach in order to get it into the actual site before M80 could do anything about it, before Yaga could do anything about it, really. 3 kills for him on the round. Big pickup there for M80. Into trophy and stat we go. Yaga be able to stick around on the Jaeger. Had the Valkyrie previously, but still a fantastic rifle. That one does only provide the 1x in comparison to a lot of other guns nowadays that defenders end up picking up. Still going to have the Azami working her way in as well. Past that, DS will have the most interesting little wrinkle here with the Doc working its way in. We've seen a decent amount of Doc play actually at this tournament. He got a buff in about like the last 6 months, which changed his stim pistols to where they deal a lot more HP, and just straight up. It's a 200 HP and it'll just overheal you as well. So it's a nice little addition there. Doc always fantastic, not only for a gunfight, but now also to have those little opportunities to not only heal you, but potentially your teammates back up. Might need that as Benja's trying to put the hurt on him down low.
Benja waiting this one out. Not going to get any immediate players count from M80 to round over towards him. He's going to continue to maintain his spot down on the first floor. As M80 sits stalwart in their positions upstairs. Another nade dump going to come in, this time against Gomez. It was looking like we were winding up to that. No confidence anymore, though. Gomez still stays in place. G2 unable to burn any of the defenders out of position just yet here. Still a minute and a half to go before G2 are really going to be forced into this situation. And M80 obliges here. They're not necessarily baiting into this one either, just sitting back, waiting nice and cautiously. We'll get a few EE1D charges out, forcing the movement in from the Azami. That'll be Gomez once again spotted from down below, but still can't lock in a nade position. He just decides to outright push into walk-in, grabs one for himself. Unfortunately, a small room, so easy for Benja now to land the nade and find the counter, bringing it down to a 4v4.
M80 still have the key positions locked down, though, necessary to keep this site not only held, but the G2 opposition at bay. Try and break down triple wall. Have that soft paneling. This nade not going to land for Doki. No more nades reside in Benja's pockets, but one more for Doki-san here. Benja's going to adjust himself towards Solarium here. This is going to be the big rotation cutoff. He's going to take down Kino. M80 have to recoil, have to try and gather control of some of these entryways. Big picks needed now. They know where Spirits is too. Blur has this cut. Another ping to confirm. Yes, he is indeed in this corner. Alum out. Lots of damage off onto him. Benj is actually going to go down to DS. Still locked up. Spirit somehow has made it away from this. The ace of Blur dropping the angle there. Spirit's getting away. Now Doki is going to be the lone soul over on bench. Some preventative maintenance in the corner on Statue as well, but Doki will rip it away. Spirit's down. DS, he now has to try and consider this himself. But where's Yogg? Where's the assistance on these angles? The plant's going down in concrete. He's got somebody over in Trophy. It's going to be Yogg inside the bathroom. The duel needed. Alamau to shut down DS. This is looking like a G2 round all over.
G2 with full control of everything except the kill on Yogg, and even that won't evade them for too long. Doki to lock it down, quickly rebounding after the first round loss here. Realistically should have been theirs as well. The clutch did not occur, so G2 bouncing back into it now. 1-1's the scoreline. Round 3 will decide who holds the lead for the foreseeable future.
And neither one of these teams really speaking each other's language here. There was just a lot of awkward engagements there. Some big fights, especially for M80, not really going their way. Able to get some pickups on the entry from G2, but they'd already dealt their damage earlier on in the round, making that plant nigh impossible to deny from M80. Now, feeling as though that top floor site is not going to be beneficial to their success going forward, so they're going to move themselves down to kitchen. See what they can find here. They'll bring the Malusis in, also have the smoke and the cap can, so a lot of delay coming through. Little partner in crime as well as Spirits will have the Legion mine, so plenty of traps to be able to keep G2 at bay. Obviously some top pressure going to be applied by M80. Do not want to allow G2 to work their way in too quickly. Gonna have plenty of soft breach to try and break up this flooring. No sledge, but probably some breaching charges abound.
5 seconds left.
A few repicks in for G2. Mainly just the Ash as well as the Twitch for Virtue and Alamau there. Had a little bit more aggressive prowess to G2's lineup. The rest of the team gonna be wrapped around here as they start to rappel up to take some of the control of the building here and begin moving themselves forward over to the other side of the map, where of course we've got M80 sites set up deployed towards M80. Just a little bit of a flare difference on this one here, as they'll of course be downstairs inside of the kitchen, so we'll see the cap can traps added in to try and slow down G2's clear. Rest of M80 as well, with a big focus on slowing down the play from G2 more than anything here. After of course we see the aggressive extensions play out their hand over the course of this first minute or two in the round. The first minute nearly already transpired with about 1.5 to go.
Not too much to discover on this drone game for G2. A lot of the consideration for M80 on the site and upstairs. This level, not too big of a deal for them. Have a lot of crosses established through the sites. Plenty of soft paneling. Doki's going to step into a Legion mine, and this is going to start to influence these top positions here. Yaga working his way back in towards Trophy. Can hop into Ivy if necessary, but this might be blocked off. Yes, Benja worked his way up towards Clock. Nade in. Oh, Kino very lucky about his position here in China, but the nade might get him. Oh, he won't bounce. He's going to throw it back in towards Kitchen. So actually be able to battle back the G2 forces here for just a little while longer.
Doki with the wrap back down here to join up with his teammates. See at least part of the G2 roster ready to try and make a move forward. As Doki completes his wrap back over into Pantry with the pinch now set up. The rest of the team ready to move out from Red Hall. No additional counter pressure from the living room side of things here. As now we see the rest of G2 ready to move forward, ready to dodge into this one. And Blair thinks he's safe, and it's certainly not the case. Diaz just gets away with one for free because his position's not checked. A second will evade him, however. Doki continues to frag on entry, working his way up through that Pantry spot. Yogg and Gomez are all that's left. Still in the fight, though, and now equalizing it with Gomez picking up the frag on Doki.
Well, that's one way to enter the site. Virtue. Out in some space right outside of Laundry. Bench has got the counter here as well. Inside of Memorial. will be able to pick up the case. Virtue, a lot of damage off onto him. No smokes here, but Gomez has the means to try and make some angles, make things hard. They don't know where he's going to potentially come from. Yaga's going to drop into a Claymore, though, and this makes it a one-on-one. Gomez stuck in China. Oh, but he gets around the wall. Able to take out the last G2 member. M80 looking fantastic right now. This is just silly, goofy mood, I guess. I don't really know.
I mean, it's in line with the event, right? We've had quite a few of those rounds happen over the course of this SI specifically. It's been a bit more of a loopier one than usual.
You got to send it. I mean, yeah. You know, if your team's going, you got to be there too. So that's
might want to check both sides of the road next time, you know.
It's just, I cannot believe that his avenue was, I'm just going to crawl through the soft wall. Like there's not going to be somebody Tetris or something. Like, just, oh my goodness gracious.
He said I had to send it, so.
Yeah, hey, you know, Leon said it earlier. I've said it multiple times over the years on broadcast. You know, just because it's stupid doesn't mean that it won't work as long as you do it together, you know? Like, as long as you are playing as a team, there is a way for anything to work. So just make sure you check that first box. G2 will be down around, though, so they're looking to check an extra one. Sophia will work its way in for Blur. He's also going to have the case at his disposal, so might see that shifted around. M80 is going to throw us back towards the south, though, John. Going back towards AVG. See what they can get done with this. It's looking quite similar to what we saw the last time, minus DS, I do believe, adding the ward to this.
We're going to see G2 start to move in through the kitchen avenue first off, taking some of that control for themselves, but they're not going to be able to fully claim it as of yet, of course, with M80 still having that potential lurk downstairs that could activate against Benja and the rest of G2. Gomez also over here by Red with some play potential. Benja's going to have to watch out, of course, make sure he doesn't get pinched away, as he is trying to clear things up over by Living Room and on the inside of the library. There's a few other players also lurking behind. It all really comes down to a matter of timing on this, and Benja will certainly know something's up having spotted this rotation. It's Doki to claim the opening frag of the round, however, working his way over on the outside of Statuary. Knocks out Gomez, brings him down, eliminates the Legion from play.
A lot of opportunities still here for M80, though, to try and recruit with this. Flank drone's getting set up for G2. No, Virtue's going to push it towards site. Maybe ill-advised as Yaga really wants to try and pressure Red here, but Bench is in the area. Could be G2 Superman. Both of them very patient. Doki prowling around as well now down here. And you heard that drone too, so active battlefield now for G2. Yaga's gonna have to be patient. Smooth criminal activity. Benja working his way forward. EE1D out, frag grenade as well, dealing a lot of damage to Kino, but he's not dead yet. No Doc this time though, won't be able to heal him up. Really need this play to go off for Yaga before this execution. They swamp the site and take up too much. There's just really nothing Yaga can do. He doesn't even have a nitro cell. These kills are what's gonna make the difference. And the frag grenade here primed. You just hope it misses. Oh, Kino, he'll stay alive. Has some verticality as well here too.
Kino with that most recent pickup there. It's gonna find Blur getting the next one here as all the defense melts down, save for Kino. Has that one trade, of course, over against Blur. The only kill on the round so far. Doki brought down low from his entry activities, but still very much in controlling position for this round. Him and Spirits will only be able to hold kind of a reverse position now on this site as they take control of the study and top main stairs. Usually the first thing the attackers get, but right now we're working with the opposite. As Kino finally sniped out there. Spirits has been able to wiggle his way back into the depths of bar inside of games. So at least have that for a moment. But once again, Doki swinging back around, works his way up the main stairs, shuts out this round. And G2 yet again excel to put themselves one more step forward here.
Where we go? Yeah, let's adapt here, boys.
You hear the call from M80, trying to figure it out. And tough cookie to crumble right now for G2 as they constantly recoup, rejoin and then reassess the situation that's in front of them. They're not really trying to get too forceful with sight anymore. They're trying to take those little skirmishes, get their big picks, and then move things back to a set point that they can kind of, leapfrog off of into the later round. And it's working really well because it's really throwing M80 off. You can see they were kind of stunted there, kind of stumbling around, figuring out what angle G2 is going to try and come from. They're going to go for a plan on the vault door, what's going to happen here, what's safe, what's not safe, and then all of a sudden, especially for the last kill, that's a perfect example, Doki coming up main at like 10 seconds remaining, and they're not even focused on that at that moment in time, and it's constantly because G2 are able to abuse those timings, especially into the later portions of the round, simply by reinserting themselves over and over again.
So we'll head into our next round here. Time for one of these teams to try and set up at least a guaranteed tie point at halftime. Breathe a little bit of sigh of relief, whoever ends up claiming this round. We'll certainly want a little bit more than that, of course. Just at the beginning of this series, so still plenty of territory to go through. We're going to see G2 once again start things out with Benja. Leap it in through the pantryway. The rest of M80 and whatnot sitting just kind of by the wayside right now, trying to line up any potential hold that they may be able to work themselves towards G2, as we can see for them. Just focusing on drone work right now, not really able to take too much, but they do have sights on Yogg, so we're going to probably begin the process of trying to box him out.
No good tidings just yet for G2. It's a tie ball game between these two. Some positive drone work that we just got a little excerpt into. You can see that over the top of Ivy, seen down into the hallway. Big position there, and they're going to be able to hold on to, especially for some potential dead members of G2 later on if things go awry. M80 looking for their big moment, looking for their big swing. Already have the nade out of Doki down low, at least one of them. Plenty on Benja. They're both going to be down low once again here. Constantly trying to mortar out everyone from down low. Depth charges for these frag grenades. Keno's going to be holding onto the stairwell. Very similar position to what we saw the last time. And that's where we saw Benja reinsert himself in towards the bathroom window. Get that big kill on the smoke player as he rotated back up the staircase. The minute and 10 seconds remaining, though, M80 still have all of Keno's smokes, 2 impacts, and another Kiba barrier on Gomez. No picks going either way right now. This is a big moment for them. Can they make sure that this half is a dead heat?
Yes, will take at least 1 bullet of damage as he tries to wing himself out for a fight, more than likely from the walk-in. Yogg, though, able to claim the first actual kill, eliminates the lurk from Benja. Not able to get anywhere this round with the Nook, so he'll be caught out there. Early edge to M80, but can they keep it? G2 has already been on the rebound for a few of these rounds here. They're potentially going to try to take Connector in a second, but never mind. Unfortunately, forced away from that one. Gomez is just able to line up for yet another kill, this time against Virtue. Spirits and Yogg with 2 more as well. And man, just an absolute shutdown to come in here from the M80 roster, taking absolutely no prisoners in this situation, barely letting G2 even get into the building, let alone set up for a site take. Nicely done as they equalize things just before we go on to round 6 and take a little bit of a lead as well with a 1-round advantage.
Well, an opportunity here presents itself for M80. A chance to close out this half at 4-2 on G2's map pick of Villa. And this would be a very big boon for them moving in towards Oregon and setting a fantastic precedent moving through the rest of the series. If it takes the full breadth, it would be on towards Bank, and that would be an even crazier showing in between these two, and such a clash of play styles. It'll make your head spin, but have to get all the way across these two maps, crossing these bridges effectively before we get there first. Alamau gonna have the Jackal in play. He's gonna drop the Lion off the Nook here as well for G2 to try and close out this very last round. They need this tie transitioning over to the defensive end.
10 seconds left.
So as we get into round
5
6,
seconds left before insertion. Attackers are moving out to
M80, as we take a peek at what their strategy is going to be. Big defense deployed, of course, once again to the inside of AVG. See the usual fight setup, though, brought for them No real modulation to that. And G2 gonna begin to rotate themselves into position, especially over here by main door. Looks like they are gonna try and go. And oh, Benja with some opportunity to frag here. Tries to play it on timing and he gets it. A little shaky on the spray, has to go hunting for the head. But eventually off of that drone intel, does catch Gomez rotating back out after throwing down the Capcan trap. Just took a little bit too long to get his utility placed, and G2 captured it, taking him down.
Big pickup here for G2, some damage off on Benja, but past that, it's looking solid for them as they sail these seas. Not too many rogue waves just yet. We'll see what M80 can cause. Potential ruckus, as we know their later rounds do not slow down, are not scared of their gunfights, and you can see it from Yaga. He's even at half HP, he's still moving like he's at full. As for G2, though, just waiting to see what M80 is going to do with this position. Are they going to try and throw some flanks downstairs, or it's going to be a fallback here and try and play it off of sight? Seems to be the latter, at least from our viewing angle. G2 trying to get some drones in place due to that. You know, you make the most out of your time.
Reloading. Cover me.
That'll be it here for G2 as they build up towards this execute.
Frag grenade.
Nades out from Benja. The rest of G2 as well here, trying to line up for the early utility clear. Deployable for the rotate out from bar is taken care of. Now time to move it forward into the site. Just checking off the list one by one, just as we saw him perform on the last execute here. M80 failed to hold on to it, and with a player deficit right from the beginning of the round, it's going to be just as difficult, if not harder, to recapture things for the defense. But Spirits with a nice aggressive swing gets the better of Doki. He's not ready for the fight, gets pressured into a corner and taken down. Benja missing a key component of this defense, though. Didn't realize Yaga had already gone down the staircase. He grabs one, but Alamau trades it back with an aggressive push forward at Death's door. The Izami gonna potentially try to play out against that. Learns her lesson, though. It's Kino currently playing her. Quickly backs up once he realizes Alamau is just way too trained on this angle.
It is a 3 versus 3 as well, so M80, although they've been able to back off G2, this is where they just have to hold the angles and keep them at bay. Force them into bad fights just like this. Blur hops the window, trying to help Virtue on the other end. Had to try and make a play on low time, not much time to try and adjust. And they drowned in this ocean. M80 with some amazing rounds on this defensive end. 4-2 split here on G2's map.
So they keep themselves in it. G2 faltering a little bit, of course, on that attacking side, but a chance for redemption now going to be given to them. They're actually going to take a moment to actually pause as well here in the middle of our halftime. So let's go ahead, listen in, see what G2's thinking about here as they get ready to go on to defense.
Okay, you can hear me now. There are a few things that I take this time up for. We're stressing up during situations where it doesn't need to be. We're on maps our advantage, we have map advantage, and we're stressing up our communication. So calm down with that. For this map, the drones doesn't work, but we need to focus on our wing condition. We have nades underneath, but we're not actually properly droning for the guys underneath. That's going to change now because we're going defense, but it's the same concept now with defense. We need to focus up, play for our wing conditions, and then have proper coordination so we don't stress out. Because those are the key reasons we've lost rounds.
Just trust on my voice.
Energy up, boys. Fucking energy up!
Guys, if I say slow down, everyone slow down. If I say play aggressive, everyone play aggressive. Just trust what I'm saying. It's fine.
Yeah, let's go.
Can you play Valk maybe? Play Mozzie?
Energy.
All right, so the pause will close out, and we'll get ourselves into it now.
That's my goat right there for a coach. Fabian, right to the point. Like, there's no butt kissing, nothing. He's like, listen, here's why you're losing. Do this. I know that this is why, you know, this is happening, but like, it translates over to this on defense. Very well done. Allowing his players to get some conversation in there too, not just soaking up the whole clock for himself either, so.
Very true. Well, the repicks currently make this lineup look very awkward until we see that happen.
Dual snipers?
I was about to say.
This isn't FaZe Clan.
Like I can deal with the Glaz and the Cali, come on. So that does end up getting repicked as you'd kind of expect.
He's going to keep it too.
M80 usually flashes that one for a repick anyway, so
they hate you. I think that's what it is. They're like, oh, we're just going to mess with John.
I doubt it's for me specifically.
But what if it was? What if Gomez specifically was like, I'm just going to flash this every time Blue casts, just so he has to see it? Well, speaking of seeing things, We're going to have Kali in.
Well, yeah, we are going to get the Kali at least, so one sniper in play, but Kali, again, having a lot more capability to work into this round. Even if she doesn't get the chance to use the sniper necessarily, her secondary is more than capable in combat, in my opinion. And then, of course, her utility can be quite nice, too, because it's, a lot of people, just kind of an alternate Thatcher. And it actually, if my memory serves me correctly, it still actually destroys the utility instead of just disabling it now like Thatcher's utility does.
All right, Keno. Give us something here. Ben's just going to get lit up. What? From where? I think that was a crot. Yeah, there it is. Gomez must have tagged him up trying to go through Memorial. Oh, yeah, there you go. A little hunter action there from our spectator. Follow the blood trail. See if you got yourself a deer. Low HP for 2 of these. Doki-san attempting to move himself forward. Every time I say that, it makes me feel like a Borderlands character, I swear. Past that, though, slow beginnings here for M80. Really trying to give respect to G2 on this roam game, and I mean, why not? You know, G2 has been really strong, especially with Doki and Benja, what we've seen through a lot of these games here so far at SI.
As we've got G2, once again, on the room, Doki specifically trying to get right into the face of the M80 clear, and he's going to be gifted with an opportunity as well. Yaga, though, ducks out of the way of it, saves his own life, keeps himself in the fight. Doki going to try to help out with this one. Gomez also lurking back up here for the attacking side as well. Has a bit of a cutoff. Spirits will finally get the better of Doki. Alamau to re-exchange it back into a 4v4 with the damage also considered onto Gomez, but also looking keenly towards Alamau and Benja. More than likely, both these teams going to respectfully back away from each other now in these off-site positions. No longer do they want to really waste out any additional playtime, let alone health. So we're trying to be extra careful about how they proceed past this point. Alamau, of course, with the immediate flank behind them, does just by default slow things down here. So his presence is kept in play. And hey, yeah, there we go. The sniper actually shoots true on this round, claims a kill. It's a rare sight even when Kali is in play. Virtue goes down to it.
I only had to wait 2 minutes and 8 seconds on the same angle. Gomez will get downed here. It's a strong angle, though. Fantastic rotation. That's the thing about this, is if you flirt with it too much, you're more than likely going to get taken out. Spears with a great find as well. Knows that Alamau still has to be in the neighborhood. Takes out that late rotation. Nitro cell down, and still plenty of time here. Kind of premature for G2. Case is going to be in Diaz's hands. They'll finally be able to get Gomez up, but no plant opportunity. There's the big play there. Triple kill for Spears as he'll take down Blur. It's a 2 versus 1. Spears with the Overwatch, though, a quad for him, and one of the biggest rounds that we've seen from him on the entries here. The Yana play getting it done.
So nicely played by the attackers on M80. He said making the Kali work for them on the attack. He'll steal away the first defense from G2. Certainly going to make them worry a little bit here as the scoreline starts to get a bit drastic with M80. Now only 2 rounds away from victory on map number 1 here. G2 not favoring the hold upstairs yet again. Not even going to the other side of the map either. Dining and kitchen is where they'll try to play things. Hopefully they can spread out the defense a little more and stand a better chance against M80 in the early round.
Pretty unfortunate there for that rotation from Virtue, but I don't think he even thought that he was going to get instantaneously combusted by a sniper rifle, so kind of got caught off guard there by the Kali. And, ooh, Spirits. After that big round, it's time for a big play, and that means you need a big character. Time for some blitz action.
He's got a big shield, but
the shield isn't that big in comparison to some other shields, but all shields work. I'd say this shield is quite adequate, John. The perfect size.
Big sheet of metal, pretty good at blocking off bullets. So we'll see if that's going to work as well here for Spirits, if he can avoid his legs getting chopped off while he rushes into the room.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That and the shoulder pads. Very burly man holding that shield.
It's the Achilles shoulder in this case.
It's very true.
For Spirits. I guess Achilles heel would still work too, because he can still shoot his feet, but
it's really just his toes.
Yeah,
that's almost worse.
There we go. Now we get to see it too.
Oh, he's got the black ice on it too. He's looking fit.
No wonder he brought it
man.
out.
John, are you ready?
Yep. Big execute coming in here from M80. They're not going to be pulling any punches whatsoever. Once they start this, there's no stopping it. Gomez is waiting for the call, already having worked them into laundry. They're going to try to swing this through as well. I think waiting until they get into the actual sight room to make the call for the swing in, but Virtue gets one out on his lonesome. Gomez gets countered on the hop in too. It is not panning out at all from M80, but they've already committed. There's no peeling back. The mistake has been made, and now they have to deal with the consequences as Yaga's left alone in the 1v5.
No, he's not.
Well, yeah, it's not enough for very long.
Good shit, James!
Fucking go, man. Fuck Magic.
Guys.
I don't think that plays on like this though. What the fuck?
M80 a little deflated after that one.
Yeah.
G2, of course.
I was just trying to see what they were going to say about that, but not really, no real response
Yeah,
from
just
me.
like,
There's like,
well, that
man,
sucks.
what the hell? Oh, gosh. Anyways.
I mean, how else? I guess how else do you react to, unfortunately, what is basically an utter failure like that? I mean, there's not really much to hark back on.
That's true.
Not really much to talk about other than, well, let's not do that again. Like, which is kind of goes without saying. So
it really is the ultimate. It is what it is.
yeah, pretty much. So we'll just kind of not look at the cameras for that one and
Please,
go back to the game.
No flash photography, please, please. I mean, I will say this though: they needed a little bit more execute utility for that. The blitz butt combo was not enough to force back G2, and that was like glaringly obvious from what we saw from Alabama. He just simply walked up to the laundry door and shot Buck in the side of the head. There's really nothing they could do about it because, again, there was nothing to hold back any of the G2 opposition. That was more or less, hey, let's try and open up the site and let Spirits run through it and see what he can potentially do with the blitz play. But nothing really happening along those lines. And then past that, the other, other facets we saw from M80, like the Gara hook and other things, just simply not working out. DOA head on arrival. But M80 still have a lot of rounds ahead of them. Try and clean these up. They're one away from map point here on Villa.
Like Stokes said, M80 at the precipice of victory, but still need to get that 2 extra round count that'll push them over the edge. For G2, of course, standing in the way of this one, they need just as many rounds to tie us back up. Gomez starts the lurk for M80, already having an advanced drone deployed by Yaga. He's given out that intel, of course, and made the all-clear call, going all the way to the top of Astro. He's got free reign to take full map control over here and begin to put pressure on the G2 defense as it's spread out quite a bit on both the second and first floor here. Could have gone to take out the living room or library room player. He's looking like he's going to try to isolate out the hold on the second floor over here by trophy and statuary instead. Establish a north kind of staging ground here for M80 to utilize and then work the rest of the picks needed from that point down. That is going to leave Benja uninterrupted, however, on the inside of his position back over towards the living room with another one kind of supporting him. Alamal, that is, playing at the bottom of right stairs.
Yep, a lot of squads really liking the stable positioning that the Northern take provides. Starting off on Study's side and just trying to force things in from that angle is definitely difficult because of main stairs mostly. Not very many angles to try and influence that, minus the window in Study, trying to push your way up the main stairs. So we're going to see M80 start their journey from this northern side. Damage off to Doki, but does have that assistance coming in from the red stairs, so doesn't have to worry about this too much just yet. Speaking of worrying, it's really up to M80 that needs to get hot to trot as we are into that last minute. No breach made just yet, but still plenty of time. They're going to clear out these laser gates and start trying to soak up a majority of this utility. The Nitro Cell's gone, but Virtue more than likely still having some smokes in his pocket. Benja dead to the world as well on top of that. They got some Goyo canisters laying around too that seriously need picked up from M80 at this point.
Doki and the rest of G2 still perfectly fine in their positions, at least for the immediate moment, but could be shaken very quickly over the next few seconds here. Doki forced back in to help out with the sight hold. They'll rotate towards that. Flash is dumped out from M80 to try and make their play forward also, as they're going to work their way into it. The hop up from Diaz gets them into the site. No sign of a plant just yet here, as they're still trying to work the room for it, but G2 responding in kind, able to hold on strong here. Looks like trading, or at least attempting to trade their way to a win, but M80 might be making things work. Never mind, though, denied in the dying seconds of the round, as G2 have the hold instead. Only one off now from tying us up at 5-all.
We had all matched there with like 2-point-something minutes.
Yeah. Bro, the guy red is not even like holding top red. It's just an alley guy. Let's fight the alley guy. Walking bar, fight the alley guy, bro. Yeah. He's close. He's on the hallway. He's not even far 90. Let's take gunfight.
Kino feeling like there's not enough bite in this bark here for M80. And I mean, just looking at the scoreboard, you can really tell you that. Yaga, as well as Gomez, the ones getting it done right now, which is quite interesting because DS Lucas has had a heck of a tournament. He's 4-6 currently. Spirits having a lot more consideration in this game, but a lot of that coming from one big round as well, as he did get a triple kill. So M80 looking to try and pull ahead again here, but Fabian trying to give North America a hard time as per usual. If you didn't know, Fabian's still perfect when it comes to playing against NA, not only as a player, but as a coach. So would also mean that we would need some Brazilians to finally take out Fabian for North America. So a little interesting angle to look at from that perspective as well. So do with that information as you may.
We've got M80 on the board yet again. We're going to see them continue to move forward here as they'll take up initial control over towards walk-in. Diaz leads the charge for M80. Gomez works his way in as well over here towards Laundry. He'll start the push forward, work his way in. The shots over by Tarps, not going to land, unfortunately, as Alamal responds first. He's able to get the down onto Gomez, clears things out over there by Tetris as well. Immediately just going to fill that void. It's like, okay, cool, he's got his trade, should be clear now, so we'll just send the rest of our players in. Problem is, there is another element to this that has not been tested yet. Doki, as you guys have probably just noticed, sitting over in Pantry.
Doki is dastardly when it comes down to
menace.
these timings, man. He plays his timings so well. He knows that they're going to try and reinsert here, but he gets another big pickup, and not only that, but it's spirits, John. You need those Osa shields so bad, especially for a position like this. This living room library push is easy to hound from the defensive perspective. Lots of utility game pouring in, and not only that, but some easy reads here from G2. M80 looking to see if they can equalize. That's really the next step forward. If G2 slips up and gifts over another kill, this opens the door just a little bit wider. That's what we know about M80. If you give them just that little inch, just a crack in the door, they're going to blow the thing off the hinges. And make sure the flank is set up here for DS and the rest of M80. But still a lot of things to consider, especially with how many members G2 still have at their disposal.
Rest of G2 still patiently waiting out the remainder of the clock to tick down here. M80 already with a plannable position realistically, but yeah, that's what I gotta watch out for. These pixel-peeped angles against them. Man, Diaz not even gonna hear that one. Alamal just deleting his teammate from existence.
Silent but deadly.
Kino's left wondering just what the heck happened there. More importantly, what the heck do I gotta position myself for to not get hit by that same thing? As he tries to wrap around into it. Yaga will try to take up a new position, but Kino, I believe, falls to the same exact thing, if not a similar position. Blur finishes things off. G2 with a defiant stance now. Tie us up 5-5. Looks like maybe the full distance on this one to get a winner. This is just map 1.
Okay. Well, we have a tech timeout here, so let's take a listen in for M80.
Maybe not. Yeah, we did. All right, they have a timeout.
Let's get top default. And comes if you climb up red because they play two on top, one dining, one on one side. So climb up red and let's cut off this guy on top, you know, and we get top. Let's get top, okay? Yeah. If it's statue, let's see what we set up. If it's safe, let's go to the other side. If they're doing aggro, we just get below and execute running on the brick door, okay?
Yeah. Bro, I don't think I want to play about this round because it's like I've done it like 2 times already.
Bro, and don't be afraid to play the game. Don't be afraid, bro. Let's go. It's only 2 rounds. You know everything that they do. Just play the game. How you guys know? How I know that you guys know how to play. You know, you guys know how to play this game. Let's go, bro. It's easy. It's easy. Other like G4.
Obviously, we got the M80 mics on right now. We can just hear Fabian in the background. Let's go, boy! Woo! Just completely bleeds through the M80 mics.
Are we sure that Fabian's dad is not Ric Flair? Are we positive? You'd have to DNA test him.
Certainly bringing the energy to his team, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely fitting the description, I'd say.
You think they'd have enough of that already, given the roster they have, but...
Oh, man.
Dude, between Doki and Alamal, you'd think there'd be enough of that to go around.
Yeah, so much energy and so much talent as well. Like, I'd be scared to be a G2 player, just be like, man, if I keep messing up, my coach is just going to play for me. Oh, God.
Like, get out of the turn! Get out of the turn!
I'd be quaking.
I'm stepping in!
Right? I'd just be quaking in my boots. Like, please, no. Just in between maps, Fabian's like, get out! This is my seat! Pengu's now the coach. He's done casting.
He's gonna start bringing out a bat with him.
Oh my gosh.
That's a throwback for anybody who knows that one.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Classic Counter-Strike fans out there.
Absolutely love Fabian as the coach of G2. Just love that he's back in the scene in a serious way. It's been fantastic having his energy back around, and always a positive light in the scene. So M80 now past attack timeout here. Ready to try and take these next 2 rounds. I mean, they settled this in regulation. Their dream that they had when they were up by 2.
Detected a bomb.
Now they need to match that exact same storyline that G2 took under their camp. 11-6 here for Doki for his KD spread. He's had a heck of a game so far. Heck of a tournament as well. Probably the best one that I've seen from him since they made the run all the way back in Japan at Tokonami. That was when he was under the Na'Vi banner. Been some time now that he's been playing for G2, and definitely the best showing that we've seen from him on this roster.
Alamau and the rest of G2 patiently waiting out the clock right now as half of it has transpired. Doki claims the first kill, however. He'll be able to shut things down initially. To see where G2 try to take it after this, however. Diaz and the rest of M80
Setting up a breaching sequence.
still leaning into this one, trying to take it ever so slowly in hopes that they can recapture that frag that was lost a few moments prior with Spirits. Virtue nearly becomes that player as he almost walks directly into the spray channel. For the time being, is going to exercise restraint as he waits out the next aggressive move from M80 themselves.
Well, Spirit's gone now. Can remove a good heap of this soft destruction. Quite necessary for this site as well, and do have some breaching charges, but past that, can be quite worrisome given the fact that G2 had the man advantage. Gonna steal those words right out of my mouth, Gomez, aren't you? Take out Benja, almost able to collect Virtue as well. Look at how hard that 5.52 commando hits. Hit him twice in the legs, John. Almost kills him. Virtue blows Yaga sky high. They'll reclaim what was once theirs, as this man advantage will go back in their favor.
Kino is going to lurk his way in here now, try to play this on his lonesome. He'll be caught out by Blur. Another player dropped as well. Diaz, the final one to fall. As G2 complete the set now, complete the comeback, and they'll get up onto map point first because of that.
I wonder what G2's opinion of M80 is. I don't know. I have to ask him. Well, G2 very quickly dispatching M80 there. They get the pick, and they rest on the site, waiting M80's arrival, and quickly making work of them as they enter any avenue of the point. So, on to match point here for G2 as they've made these defenses look so damn easy so far. M80 now have to try and regress up against AVG, which we saw them attack before, but to no avail. We're going to flash the glass there again just for Blue's consideration, but they're going to move that on over to the Finca. Spirits will have Nook instead of the Yana as well. So that got dropped from Diaz as he's going to need some ranged hard breach.
10 seconds left.
M80 and the rest of G2.
5 seconds left.
Just those 3 repicks that are going to be brought in. And for the most part, they're just switches as well. Gomez with the Yana. Spirits on the Nook now. And Diaz going over to the Habana. They've made their changes. Their final selections are locked in, so it's time to see if they're the right ones. And if they can trigger overtime to complete another little mini comeback here against G2. Only 1 round needed, of course. Or if G2 has truly taken over on this defensive half. M80 losing their edge, costing them a potential map number 1, but obviously ceding this one over to still be G2's map pick. Still will leave M80, in my opinion, in the fight, as well as Oregon coming up after this one for map number 2.
Yes, indeed. I definitely have to agree with you there, but Oregon could be a pretty scary affair. We'll just have to see. This is for the life of these 2 teams as well, so just keep that in the back of your mind. All of these rounds have so much importance, so much weight behind them, even early on here. What feels early on, at least in a best of 3. Big shots now, big chance for Spirits. Frag grenade out, and this might be it, but the ADS, Alamau has it lined up, and oh, Benja! The Nitro Cell goes nuke! Blows up 2 big players for M80. G2, they've all been sealed the deal here on Villa. Looks like this might be their map after all, and in regulation.
Certainly looking like it might be the case here. M80 down to 3 now, rushing to make up the difference.
Yaga
Oh, it just keeps worse. They line up so unfortunate. You can't even really blame Yaga. They just get jumbled up in this situation. Yaga, an unfortunate headshot against his teammate. That could be the start of the end, and indeed it will be as the flank comes through for Benja. He gets a quad to end map number 1 as G2 come back and shut it down. 7-5 in regulation.
Benja, the master of his domain, the master of Villa. G2 looking to spark another dynasty here as they quickly bring it back against M80. They look like they had something to say early in this series here. Had some fantastic defenses, but was not in the cards for them here on Villa. Maybe it will be on Oregon. We're going to send you to a quick break, and we'll be back.
I'm Nicholas Mortensen, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Six Invitational. We've got M80 going up against G2. Getting ourselves into match number 2, or map number 2 of this matchup. Going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out. As now we go over to Oregon. A lot of very open fights going on in the previous map. Now going to lock itself down a little bit tighter. Our attackers, in this case, to start the map off, going to be M80. Going to have to work just a little bit harder for some of those initial kills here as G2 really holding things a bit closer to the actual site where those aggressive rows be caught up in. You can see once again on the replays here how a lot of these frags are going to be found in that portion of the round. This is a funny one. But overall here, just need to see that improvement on the attacking side from M80 as they're going to be thrown right back into the boiler where they were also struggling on map 1.
Yes, indeed. You know, I think that they had a lot of really good things going for them when it came to their defensive end. Really able to get ahead of G2, have some big fights, get those big entry picks, and then play out the rest of the round off of their earlier, you know, gathering of resources. So we'll see if they're able to at least keep that going for them once they get to the defensive end. But as you just said, this offense is where they're going to start out on Oregon, and it might be a pretty difficult road. We'll just have to see. Here's the stats from Villa, if you are just now joining us. Doki heading things off, 12-6, 130 rating, and just looking fantastic. Like I was saying, it feels like back in the Na'Vi days. And actually, funny enough, we were talking about that Tokonami tournament. Completely forgot that was the time that he was banned because he's a silly little goober. So, but still, back in the day, that was when we saw him be so successful right before that happened. And big pickups here ever since, and a huge tournament for him here at the Six Invitational nevertheless, and you can say that for a lot of these G2 members, including the likes of Benjamaster and Alamau. But now we have to turn the sights back over to M80 because they're in the hot seat, one map away from being booted out of the Six Invitational, an express ticket back home from Montreal. Let's get into Oregon and see if they can push us onto map 3.
As we get ourselves into it, we'll get started here with the first round. And we'll see the bans come through first, of course. Montaigne is going to be the first operator to get knocked out of the pool here, so that will be an interesting one to see, specifically here for Oregon, and the ban coming from G2 as well. M80, I do believe, has tried to use him a little bit, but it's not necessarily been a mainstay by any extent, so
it's a usual addition for M80, I would definitely say.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to spirits, he definitely likes a shield play. We already saw that blitz, and usually end up trending back towards Monty on something like this.
So that'll make sense when everything's said and done. Ying as well, making perfect sense as far as Oregon is concerned. The Azami ban will be the first defender, so everything proceeding pretty much as we saw back on map number 1. We'll see if it's going to be a direct echo for the defenders here if we get the mirror ban, or if maybe they're feeling something a little bit different and just allowing the mirror to come into play. Nah, G2 does not want to mess around with the mirror, so they're just knocking that one right out. Not a part of their defensive strategies, so they'll get rid of it for M80 here. And we'll get ourselves into round number 1. Let's see if G2 is able to continue the rampage. Now, as like we said in the pregame, they do have the defensive start, so a little bit of an advantage, in my opinion, at least given to them there also. Basement is the usual expected first site that they'll go into. Delay composition seems to be the way to play this. Well, Doki will be messing around a little bit upstairs, and I imagine Benja too. So he'll be on the Mozzie there, so he'll pre-deploy all of his utility. Whereas Doki kind of needs to run around the map to be able to properly deploy his utility, since it's, those who don't know Legion, of course, it's gained throughout the round. Those little mines that he can stick into his opponents, they're invisible as well. They have a little translucent effect if you're looking closely enough, but can be hard to spot if you're just rolling through a room as a normal player. Sticks you with it, it'll stop you from sprinting, and you have to go through a whole like 4 to 5 second animation to pull it out. So it is quite inconvenient. It also does a rolling dot on you as well if you do not take it out quickly enough.
Yeah, pretty annoying. Also, way back in the day, John, you could actually see those things throughout the entire building as Legion. So he was also like the most amazing info gatherer ever, because you would just listen for a break or just be staring out over, you know, at like a window, like say we're playing Villa, right? Like we just were over in AVG. So you put one all the way over on like, you know, the master closet. You could see that when they jumped into it. It was absolutely ridiculous. They've toned that down a bit, but still an amazing op that you can fit into practically any lineup. He just works. The goo mines are fantastic. You have impacts to be able to assist with site setup or potentially denial of some hard breach. Just really depends on what you want out of the kit. But again, very easy to try and bring into the fold. M80 is going to be droning out everything, and I mean everything. Spears is going to check the top floor, but has he missed one mark? I think Benja might have slipped through the cracks, but no, not anymore. Definitely as that drone was outside. more than likely saw him, and they'll see each other. Benja will pick that one up.
So with M80 continuing to clear things out, you see them put into position over here. Benja with the spray going up 2 floors for it as well. Nearly is able to grapple against Yaga. Forces him back. Gomez with a potential drop to try and trap out Benja, but Benja, he's gonna go for it all the way to the top of the stairs. No one watching it, but he pre-fires the wrong spot. Has bad intel. Thinks there would have been someone hiding out behind kitchen, having a watch established for the back stairs, but not gonna end up being the case. G2 now peel all their aggression away from Freezer. A big stack on the outskirts of it here, as they're looking to still line themselves up for the drop from M80. We have no one from M80 trying to push this part of the map, by the way, so G2 kind of expecting something that is not going to be happening in any near point in the future here, but still just try to be prepared for it, as they'll more than likely expect the back push to be the play from our attackers.
Stay clear of ADS, line of fire.
I'm going to have that damage off onto Yaga, but it's going to come down to the last minute to decide the first round, but to be expected with a basement assault. G2 want to try and rest on the utility, make sure they can use that to its fullest. Oh, Virtue doesn't get it. It won't, yeah. Walked a little bit too far there. Won't even get the ADS over in the corner either, so a little unfortunate there for DS. Doki will still be able to maintain his position inside of tower. M80 have not been able to deal with a lot of the pressure points of G2's setup. Going to try and work their way into Laundry, which is the harder side of this coin. We've seen this go wrong for a lot of teams, but it's going to begin right here for M80. Big kill, though, for Benja. This will at least slow it down for the time. Case is going to be on Kino. They have to quickly try and find some space for this. The Goyo will go off. That's going to delay a lot of time here. Those are 20-second canisters. A rush through from Kino. He gets up in the face of Benja. Doki drops him behind. He now has case control. A huge play from him. 2 versus 1. Bring it back under for Kino. Yaga has the overwatch. Alamau, he doesn't know where this is going down. They're going to move around. Go for the kill. He's got the pick. And now he just has to play inside the corner. Yaga, he moves. He rotates. Alamau shuts it down. The Brazilian god in EU cleans it up.
They're gonna go.
M80 just silent as Alamau screaming at them from the other side of the table. You'll love to see it. G2 locking down a very important round number 1 here for themselves, gets them out of the basement and on to the second floor here, where they're going to try and lock in the kids' defense next. Activates a little bit more aggressive play from them as well, so they're not going to have to worry about that bunker setup. Apparently, they're going to worry about the delay comp, as Doki's going to go from the lurking menace to the annoying block standing in front of this execute here on the Clash.
No running in the halls, says Doki. The Clash here. See if he can hold things down over on the Masters side. M80, all things considered, John, they did a pretty bang-up job of trying to get the entries there. I mean, the Laundry side, it is so hard to try and deal with a lot of the swings coming in from the defense, and still able to get that down to a plannable position. Just Alamau too strong from where he was set up. Able to work things out, MacGyver his way into the angles and closet. Finally able to shut down M80's last little angles of their assault. And now for G2, looks like they're going to start things off in Big Tower just for a moment. Virtue getting rid of a drone and going to rotate in through the second level here. Spirits on to the Amaru, though. You can see the Gara hook swing through here quite quickly. You see M80 trying to figure out what they want to do with this tower position, and I think Virtue's here to stay. Where's Waldo? He's in T1, that's the answer, John.
Virtue not going to be found out just yet, and the drone's not spotting him either, but there we go, now they will. Virtue gets popped out of coverage. A second drone confirms his retreat. Thankfully, no one from M80 in position to immediately frag him. Neither of the barricades have been popped, so he remains safe and is given the opportunity to evacuate, just as we see Spirits, of course, take up the T3 positioning and get himself ready for his descent back down onto the lower platform.
Well, M80 vying for position a lot across Big Tower there, but ends up only being a one-front assault. So they give up some drones to get their member in there. Start trying to push things down on the Master side. Everything barricaded up here. Going to try and get some drones in to assist this. They'll know the clash is in play, but now they have to try and find a way to deal with this. They don't have any of the traditional ways that we see of dealing with clash, like Zofia. She isn't worked in nearly as often as she used to be. Still a fantastic op, but since they've set her up as a 3 armor, just haven't seen her nearly as much when it comes to the entry game. Blur's going to get a big pickup onto Gomez, some damage back onto Benja as well as Alamau. Spirit's now getting into this, and Virtue will get it from down low. G2, they're keeping the back door wide open in case there's a rainy day. Bring the dogs back inside, G2. They'll smoke 3 members of M80. Try and bring it back towards site. A lot of different angles to play into this as well, as Yaga will be able to pick up 1.
Yaga tries to work himself up to the top of white. G2 more than ready for this challenge, though. Doki still standing defiantly in the way of this one. Yaga to find the clip of Blur at least, so M80 still staying in the fight. How prominently is still yet to be seen here with Diaz literally stuck. Oh, Doki! Looks the wrong way, downs himself, the Nitro's off point. Benja's not immediately in position to counter, even with the Nitro thrown out there. He's working on rushing himself upstairs, trying to get the trade when Doki's finished off, it looks like. No, he'll be caught too, as Yaga has his own counter flank. A triple now on the round from Yag. And the confirmation onto Doki along with that. Virtue, all that remains, but he's got a crack shot! 2 in a row for him on the heads! As he saves it in the clutch for G2.
Guys.
Calibrate that scope. Gilly in the mist from downrange. Smokes himself too.
Few wood chips from the door barricade there. Probably going along with him, as that is a pixel shot, if there ever was one, to shut out the players from M80 immediately as they try to peek out into the open.
Yeah, sending splinters right there. Incredible from G2 as they've round up 2 rounds where M80 have had a full-on assault, practically berating G2's entire defensive setup, but they're still able to work it out. And by the way, both of those a 1vx situation from 2 different players. Alamau, the first one to get it, our Brazilian, and then immediately after that we get it from the Aussie himself in Virtue. Polar opposites when it comes to planet basis. Existing on 2 completely different sides, but both of them pretty damn good at Rainbow Six Siege.
Definitely the case, as G2 now looks to really lock in their advantage and potentially prompt an early tack pause from M80 here by trying to lock in round number 3. Full refresh of the attacking roster as well for M80. Few operators just getting switched around, it looks like. But overall, we're going to end up with the Habana, the Yana, the Sledge, the Osa, and the Flores are what M80 will deploy towards on this round. Pretty balanced composition at the end of the day here. The entry for Spirits, Yaga on soft breach, Kino on hard breach, Gomez on utility clear, and then Diaz as well, assisting with the execute utility there by having those shields. Let's see the path they'll try to take into it. Weaver going to be actually on the inside of Cafeteria for this one. That could potentially prompt a tower take because of that. Small tower, that is.
How long can Virtue exist in his biome?
What?
That was Diaz?
Yeah.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I didn't think that was him. I didn't think he killed him right there. He didn't even mean to do it.
They have it? Is there a drone around there?
No, he just shot the barricade.
Pre-fired like with a 1-tap and just absolutely aced it, apparently.
Listen, there's a reason why you just spam random walls in this game, and it's because of that stuff right there.
I really wish we had Doki's camera, because that would have one of those moments where just like arms are up like, what did I do? Like, what did I do wrong?
That was very fun and interactive.
So Spirit's going to try to make a wrap. There is another member of G2 waiting around the corner. Virtue gets some assistance, apparently, from Benja down below. The trap setup is sprung for G2, and they strike twice to get those kills back. Doki's death matters not that much anymore here with the frags they have been able to find.
That was just gross. Rotero drones in. Virtue, he stays alive. Gomez gets him, though, with the explosive device. Minute and 20 seconds, and I think that might be our first Rotero drone death here, this event. I think actually somebody ended up killing themselves with their own Rotero drone, maybe?
Something along those lines?
Yeah.
I know we've had a few team kills of Goyo canisters, too. So.
That's a little bit more self-explanatory, though. I mean, you play with fire, you're bound to get...
Yeah, that's just, like, unfortunate timing for players crossing angles and stuff like that a lot of the time.
But in the same line, I guess if you play with explosives, you're down to blow up, right?
Yeah.
I mean...
Thermite knows a lot about that.
Yeah, so does his hands. Those things are kind of torched up a little bit, depending on the skin that you're playing. Stun's in now. That was M80. They've been stalwart in this position, John. They haven't wanted to really progress here. G2, they found a lot of very good positioning, but Ben just sends it into small tower. He gets restless, and he's dead because of it.
Gomez with a second here as well. Brings G2 down to only one. A triple on the round from Gomez. Blur in the 1v3 here. Trying to find the right timing for this peak, but it's the big swing from Gomez again. Quad on the round for him. Massive individual effort coming out here as M80 looks to rebound.
Oh my. Perfect shot there, and actually it does look like he did have a little consideration to Doki potentially being on that angle.
Yeah, I was about to say, because there's like no way that was his like first shot. Like,
yeah, he saw the little wood piece just missing those one little slat missing out of the bottom of the window there. He was like, huh, if I was on defense.
A 600 IQ moment, really.
Yeah, I might want to abuse that to shoot at my team.
If I was on Rome.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where I'd position myself behind big window. Oh, apparently he would position himself there too. Good to know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's just like one of those situations.
Perfectly struck, my friend, indeed. So, unfortunate for Doki, tries to get that little cheeky angle there with that little board slat missing, but well met from M80. Able to MacGyver that into a round later on. Some interesting setups here from G2, as if you probably noticed, there's no shield down low. There's no rotation that's been made here. Okay, never mind. Okay, thanks, Alamo. Yeah,
Just a little late.
Yeah. Clocking in late, huh? Third time this week.
They've got like 2 minutes before they even get to that part of the match. It's fine. Plenty of time.
So 15 minutes before the customers show up, man. Come on. I can still make a cup of coffee.
We're going to see the players from G2 wait in those aggressive positions if they have established them at all. Benja, oh, nicely done here. He's got the stolen drone.
Oh, this is a gross drone spot, too.
So attacker is definitely not going to expect this. Giving Benja quite a bit of play capability when the tower clear comes forward. Speaking of which, we have Gomez. Here we go. He knows the play is working itself towards yellow. Shots coming out also. Not landing truly just yet against Gomez here, but Gomez also being assisted with a drone working itself towards him. Now with the relocation of his stolen drone. We'll try to take that a little bit closer to Gomez here, see if they can hunt him down. Gomez, as far as I'm aware, is alone too, so if they do manage to corner him with at least 2 players, should be a guaranteed kill. There we go, yeah, Gomez out for the count. Benja finally able to pull the trigger. Doki as well, leaping into action from the connector, going into meeting room. He finds Spirits. M80 once again struggling to find solid footing here at the start of the round, and up against one of the most difficult attacking sites to go against as well here. Really would have needed the full breadth of their roster to make this happen. The Amaru loss obviously isn't the end of the world. From a utility perspective, they're still doing okay, but player count is not healthy in any sense, considering there is 0 damage even traded on those kills. You know, ready to move in over here through laundry, but thinking twice about that now that he sees a drone coming his way and is like, wait a second, that's not mine. So that'll force him back. The Mozzie play working out very well for Benja specifically and the rest of G2 here, just with the amount of intel they've been able to steal away off of those pests. I'm assuming that that was 2 drones captured if we have the second one down here, unless they really went for the full reposition of the one they had in small tower earlier.
Well, M80 down into the fire minute. Looking to try and pressure things on the laundry side, at least for, I believe, Kino's perspective. He's going to get tagged up. Nothing really doing for them right now. These rounds have been so hard for them to try and garner. G2 constantly just waiting at the door. Not even opening it for him. Keeping it shut. Deadbolted. Keep the board across the 2, John. This looks like a zombie apocalypse in G2. They're hunting Nazi zombies. Oh my. Well done as they are closing out every single gap presented by M80.
Nicely done by the M80, or excuse me, by the G2 roster here as they are able to lock in their 3rd round. Now, M80 bounced back on the previous one, but immediately dropping it as we go back over to that lower site. G2 also rotating themselves towards Kids, where, once again, things have looked fine based on the previous play. It's only that tertiary site where they struggled so far.
We just have to see M80 find something on one of these tried and true sites of G2 and really tried and true sites of Oregon. This is what you practice for, that tertiary site kind of in the background. You're looking to really deal some damage on these main points that the defense wants to try and hit. So far, it has not been able to come through for M80. Very similar circumstances provided for G2 though, so hopefully M80 have something in mind for us here. Going to keep the Gara hook in play. Gomez will be the one shifting towards Yana for this, and Yaga back onto the buck.
10 seconds left.
As M80 have locked in their roster, now getting prepared to move forward here. G2 as well, a very balanced take on things yet again for their second floor hold. Big emphasis on utility mitigation, as we have both the Wamai as well as the laser gates coming out from Virtue there. Smoke also going to be helping out with delaying things. And Benja, I mean, it worked so well on the previous round. Might as well bring the Mozzie out to play yet again. It seems like it was having good effectiveness on his first play. We'll see if it's going to continue, though, as M80 probably going to be a little bit more aware of those pests. Doubt they want to give those free drones over to their opponents as much as they did on the previous round.
Definitely made things difficult. That's even past the man advantage G2 was able to pick up quite early. See if M80 can try and right those wrongs. Quite a slow build up here for at least the first 45, but that's due to the drone game before they get pushing in. And that's the thing about Siege, not much action when it comes to actual player movement. Lots of action when it comes to those drones as they clear things out. M80 will just have to wait and see what they can do with the info as it pours in. Hasn't made its way towards Doki just yet. Waiting for this tide to come. M80 will work their way up towards the big window, and it looks like this is going to be the opportunity that they're building up towards. Oh, Doki, he might go for the swing.
Wind it up.
Oh, Gomez on the drone, so unfortunate for him. He's caught completely off guard. Doki can now just maintain his Z position. He'll back off, forcing M80 to try and get into a fight. They've already lost another man here, John. This is looking like a 4-2 split for G2.
Timing play works out brilliantly for G2. As Stokes mentioned, they're looking to try and lock in things for the G2 roster. Spirits gonna be trying to set himself up for a hop-in. This is where things are gonna get a little bit more drastic for him to try and work towards those. Once the drones are in proper position, he's gonna be flying in blind. He goes for it anyway though, and Benja more than ready for the challenge. However, not forever. Diaz establishes a late top white cross and does take him back down. But at the cost now of that, Amaru hopping is going to leave things in a little bit more of a peculiar spot for the rest of M80. No longer with the confidence to fully fling themselves at this site. Yaga, you can see, slowly trying to creep forward here. Doki finding some serious damage thrown out against him, mainly coming in from Diaz here. The impact trying to hold back the assault from M80, but it's not really going to work out all that well. Flash dump lands directly on top of Doki, and he's in the corner waiting for that to fade away.
Oh, he gets curious though. What do we know about curiosity? Well, it kills the cat. Doki's down for the count. It's a 3 versus 3, doable for M80. Minimal time remain though. Nice shots here from Yaga on the entry, able to deal with the Attic player, but now this is where the rest of G2 needs to stand tall once again. Diaz down, big kills here for Al out of the SMG-11, and he might be the Reaper here for M80. Yaga, he doesn't have time. M80 can't get it done yet again. It's a 4-1 split in favor of G2. I was getting a little ahead of myself there in the midst of that round, but an opportunity actually presenting itself to G2 to make this a 5-1 half.
5-1 in the favor of G2 indeed as they lock in a massive advantage, or at least look to do so on this round. Meeting Hall and Kitchen is the site that they go to yet again to try and accomplish that. Keep in mind though, this is where things went awry. Did not have the proper setup to deal with M80's clear for this one. Also going to rotate the site, if memory serves me correctly, to try to play Cafeteria on the previous hold. And well, initially, we saw that setup lead into some pretty decent results. Now they're going to try to play it over here on the inside of a meeting instead to peel things back a little bit further, deny the initial map presence for M80, and hopefully make it a bit more of a difficult task to execute here.
Look at the castle barricades working their way in for G2. No sledge play. We're going to need some explosives from M80. have the frags, do potentially have some breaching charges that they can use, but I mean, even past that, they don't want to try and abuse this back end. They have the means of production when it comes to gathering control of a place like Meeting, and that's more than likely where we'll end up docking this boat, as M80 will potentially look for a stage plant. Looks like we got some panels missing there on the far side. I think they've actually just straight up destroyed a lot of these. Oh yes, they've stretched out the site actually on both ends. Not only here, but also in Meeting, they have the soft destruction dealt with for stage. This is usually reinforced, so a lot of angles for M80 to worry about, and a couple of things in addition that they might not be used to when it comes to this site.
M80 continue to take a very slow roll to this, as we're going to see them try to line themselves up for a quicker swing in through Cafeteria. Have the territory open for the taking now. Virtue, of course, trying to stand in the way of that. And he'll be the first one to call out. They are losing presence. Benja as well, trying to sustain over by, well, anywhere really at this point, as he loses the castle barricade immediately while he is crossing the divide that it now has created. Thankfully, is not spotted quickly enough, so he's able to make it across, get himself upstairs here, and into a better spot to play out the rest of this round here. Hopefully standing in the way of Kino, and the rest of M80's clear.
My device is ready.
Well, looking for what they could potentially get on this top floor, and getting this clear pushed up towards the cafe side. I have a line shift here, John. Looks like they could potentially try and work their way over for Big Tower, but G2 has expected this. That's what Alamal's positions for. He's got some ADS in there as well, so probably has a lot of Razor Blooms around too. Could be the hop in here from Spirits. It's very worrisome as of right now. Alamal, oh, he's actually got the shotty right here on the stairwell instead. Spirit's gonna be able to take down Blur, and this is starting to build up to a positive play for M80, at least with that initial pick.
Ready to trigger.
Definitely still could see Alamal make a big play with this shotgun. Now, doesn't look very menacing, but mind you, this thing can sing for sure. Once we see the swings come forward here from M80 deeper into the back of stage, he'll get his chance to test things out. At the moment, just on drone duty more than anything, knocking out any intel these guys try to gather for themselves.
Here's the push.
It's just going to be the Echo first going forward. Rather the clone from the Yana, so it does not reveal the hold just yet. Diaz as well with a top crunch on this one. It is going to be difficult, mind you, for Alamal to pull off that type of performance. That many players attempting to crunch him out. Spirits and Gomez, and Spirits again for a triple already on this round. Just walk through the G2 defense, if you can even call it that. Not able to put much pressure back onto M80 whatsoever here, and Spirits once more claims that final kill also.
We're not losing by a lot. We're not getting shit on. Like,
and now we have defense.
Yes.
Let's go, boys.
Very well done from M80. Able to at least get one more round under their belt, make this feasible for them.
Now the fun starts.
And you heard it there first from, I believe, Virtue. Now the fun starts. As G2 will be over on the offensive side now, and it's going to be a laundry supply room defense to start us off from M80. A decently successful offensive half there from M80, but G2 throwing a lot of looks at them that they really weren't up to snuff on. Able to really pick apart M80's initial entry, get those big players off the board, and obviously translate that into a pretty successful late round. Now for M80, the shoe's on the other foot. They're going to head downstairs and try and work on the building blocks that they've gathered for themselves. A little padding here before G2 pushes it to the penultimate point. And potentially the match as well, which would spell the demise of M80 here at this tournament.
5 seconds left.
And so as M80 looks to try and save their scoreline yet again after having claimed that second round at the tail end of the first half. We'll see if the defense gives any better results over to M80. You heard them talking about it there in the side swap zone. We're not losing by a lot. Going to our better side now. So we'll see if things are going to work out a bit better here for M80. Now that they have that extra confidence brewing into their side of the court, they were already able to control an advantage back on map number 1 by playing things out from this side. Obviously, the map plays a bit differently than it does Villa, so they're going to have to play things a bit closer to the chest, and that still could create its own series of issues for the G2 roster. However, we are regardless seeing them stack up now for their initial clear, as they'll attempt to move things in on that front door side. Only really one player trying to push it from the back of Big Tower. So.
Silence across Oregon, to be expected with the basement defense, though. G2 have to get the keys to the castle. Those keys happen to be in Blur's back pocket. Somebody go get the super. Get it open. That'll be the X-Kairos that they'll be using to get those hatches broken up. Still have to deal with some of the harder utility around the area, like these Banshees. Gonna need an explosive for that on the back main stairs. Still some of my discs around too. Past that, though, G2 really just trying to process how the basement is set up, where these key positions are going to be, such as Spirits, such as Yaga in this freezer hallway. More than likely already predicting Diaz as he will be in the most known position in the basement, the elbow area. You can always assume somebody's going to be playing around that, especially with the shield in play. More drone work here for G2 before they make their next step. It's going to be a Rotero drone that works its way in, and it'll actually end up taking out that shield there from Kino. No other deployable shields to try and add back to this.
Spirits and the rest of G2, or Spirits and the rest of M80 rather, simply waiting out the play from G2 as they put themselves up on top of the backstairs push. Rest of the team in position here now with 44 seconds left. We do need to start seeing them take some serious map control away. Otherwise, M80 will be more than ready for the challenge against them here. Not been able to put the right foot forward. Yep, that may also be part of the plan inside of this execute. Flashes and the works coming forward, but Yaga, like I said, ready. However, Alamau gets a very unsuspecting trade. Gomez goes unnoticed, though, in the depths of construction. He'll be able to pick up one as well. Still alive and in the fight also is Doki. He'll reduce down to being the last player standing here for G2, trying to clutch it out 1v3. It's looking good for MA to lock this one down, but Doki's still going to give it his all as he tries to forge himself into a clutchable area. Goes back in, grabs the case, now going to try and work himself towards the plant, but ends up swinging the angle while still mid-reload. Diaz ends it instead. G2 claim that, or excuse me, M80 claim the pickup here.
Kids first?
And that defensive end from M80 finally getting around to us, and a successful round as well. A little worrisome there when it came to the offensive side, but to be expected when it comes down to it on Oregon. So see if they can potentially keep this ball rolling. G2 not really able to get any serious consideration towards the site. A lot of time spent working things like info game and trying to get rid of some of these pieces of utility that were holding back the push from G2, like the Banshees with the Roteros as well as the deployable shields. But that left G2 at low time, and not only that, but a pretty hot drop from them as M80 was able to collect a lot of the entry kills, making it nigh impossible for them, although Doki was looking like could potentially get something done inside of that 1 versus 3. Either way, though, G2 still ahead by a round, so still have the means to try and start picking up some more, start heading towards that final score line. It's going to be a top floor defense here from M80.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
And as M80 now position themselves into it, only 1 round away from the comeback. Yog trying to swing out as well, immediately going for a peek over by the front doorway. Does give away his own position, obviously, but this early in the round, that's not much of a problem. He can still easily rotate back upstairs, get himself into a much safer spot. Can't necessarily say the same for Gomez here, as he's nearly caught out. G2 committing themselves into the garage first as Benja takes that first strike against Gomez. And attempts to knock him down, unsuccessful though. He just knocks off about 1/3 of his overall HP. Benja, he'll try to move himself forward instead. Still on his solo mission right now, but it could yield results if he's willing to commit to the inside of security. Player on cams right now. Here we go, the walk up and the easy kill against Spirits to claim one of the extensions from it, from M80. Yaga with another one as well, though. Trade it right back into M80's favor. Catches Alamau on the exchange as he attempts to work himself in through backstage. Get some access there for himself as well as the rest of the team here. Hopefully puts M80 on a better path towards preventing the ascension of G2 up onto the second floor. For the most part, though, really only having to deal with Alamau on the inside of the building currently. Doki also, I think, going to try to position himself over towards those white stairs for a push in that direction, but like we said before, Benja still Going to try and cause some problems on his own regard. On that lurk, just unable to isolate out the M80 individuals so far. One dodged away, scopes in onto it. Gomez brought down low. Ben just not convinced he brought it down low enough, though. Spots, I believe, that Valkyrie camera as he rotates away. And Doki is going to get confirmation on one. Virtue with another nade toss-up from below. Also, ditches Yaga, gets rid of him. Only 2 left alive for the defenders, but they're still fighting back. May not be able to stop this plant from going down, but Kino certainly keeping the fight alive. Benja hiding amongst the corpse of his teammate, or at least the injured body of his teammate, is able to steal back that trade, revives his injured teammate, brings Gomez back from it as well for a 1v3.
Oh, Gomez trapped on white, droned as well. Practically impossible as the cross is being held. G2 get their advantage back here. So they're up 2 rounds.
With a nade from big window.
Good fucking job, guys.
Taking those nades in consideration, that was something that also was talked on and touched upon by Fabian in their timeout back on Villa. Their inability to drone things out on the floor above and line things up for the frag grenades, but definitely not the case this time around, huh, John? As they were able to immediately remove M80 via the same strategy, just reapplied onto Oregon.
Certainly. Keep in mind, folks, G2 up 5-3 already with map number 1 over on Villa claimed as their own pick as well. Which means M80 is up against potential elimination here now. Another North American team. Really having to say bye-bye to them this early on in the bracket. It'll be a real shame, of course. We've yet to reach the true playoff stage where we'll have our crowd, where you folks at home will be joining us starting on Friday. M80 wants the chance to play in front of that, but they need to close out on this match to get it. And unfortunately, their chances are slipping further and further away. Heading instead over to the G2 roster as things currently stand. Bit of a remix for G2. A couple player swaps, a couple operator swaps. Ends up being all 5 players changing their initial pick. But we end up with a pretty balanced execute composition at the end of the day. Just doubling down on the hard breach there between Blur and Doki, going for the Thermite and Ace, respectively.
Alamau playing things in where he once was on the defensive end. Saw him here inside of T1, back and forth with Kino, both of them tagging each other up. The Kino able to stay alive a little while longer. Alamau, though, will be able to claim spirits, and Kino gonna eat another bullet here, but at least gets the refrag onto Alamau. So equal footing between these two, but Yaga still with a lot of, or rather Kino still with a lot of work to do when it comes to Big Tower.
Kino's still positioned in that spot, though, because G2 do not have an easy way to clear him out. They don't have any pressure from T3, or even the top of T2 for that matter here. So Kino's smart in choosing to stick around here until they start to establish that, which to do that, they're going to have to rotate away, basically give Kino a potential 1v1 down below here. I think he's going to wait for this signal here. Here's the shots coming through, so more than likely, I'm imagining anyway, it's going to start to make his move out of here, but has to be careful on it. He certainly knows that he's being hunted. Big emphasis being put onto him specifically, so very careful with every step, but that's still not going to save him. Benja just a little bit quicker and a little bit more free-flowing there, placing himself onto the rappel, and he's going to be able to claim that kill. M80 find a response against Virtue. Already over halfway through this round. 4 out of 10 players dead. It's down to a 3v3 for our final fight between the remaining players. As Diaz simply waits for pressure from the front side. Has the wrong read on it currently, though, as we're not really going to see much of anything coming from G2 in that direction. They're executing entirely from backstage. So we will need to see Diaz rotate to that accordingly, and I believe he has just caught onto it. He's gotten the call from his teammates, so he's going to look to get in the way of this one, but the plant now starting to go back down. It's a hard repeat for Diaz, so the plant is going to be clean here. Just not enough presence in the back of the site. 2 more frags, make it 3 for G2, and they're well on their way to the 2-0 shutdown now.
Okay, go.
Guys, it's gonna be bunker now. Let's go bunker again. They execute this fucking yes. We're gonna win this round, okay? The next round on kids, you sure guys wanna do do a trophy? Trophy? You sure? Okay. Yes, okay. But I think, bro, watch out wide with them, okay? Watch out, watch out.
I have a bench wide.
I don't know if you start below, Gomez. I think you start close to fall back to because they're gonna try to hunt you.
So I'm just playing inside?
Yeah. Okay? And after that, on dining, I think we need to put more things for
Are we going dining or meeting?
No, sorry, meeting. I think we need to put more things for you. I think put like a banshee, put a banshee on the door, you know, the tower door. The
plank store.
Yeah, plank store. And I think we put one mice at the beginning for him. So, okay?
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. It's fucking defense on org. We're gonna win that shit.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
All right, so here we go yet again into yet another round here. G2, their first opportunity to lock down the series inside of this map. M80 with 3 rounds needed now. They need to be perfect. They'll start up the basement hold, so theoretically, this one should not be too much of a problem, but I said that before. Unfortunately, things have ended up going the other way regardless. And with a pause now coming in for M80 that also gave the tack time out to G2 also. So Fabian may have just given his team the winning strategy to try and deploy towards on this very round. We are seeing that blitz flash from Alabama. Wait a second to see if it's going to stick. Something in the drone phase may make them decide to take this in another direction. The Malusis could be quite bothersome for Alamo trying to rush play, especially onto the inside of construction. If we're going to see one of the Banshees go down in the usual position just to the left of the doorway here. And there we go. Speak of the devil. It's going to go down right now. The blitz stays in, though. Let's see what G2's cooking.
They turned my tunes off, though. Did you hear the lo-fi roll in there? That was actually nice. I kind of like that. Can you just keep it going for us? No. Alamo actually going to be enveloping Spirit's playstyle here with that blitz that you touched on.
See, now this is going to be dirty if they win on this too. It's like you're gonna knock them out with their own strategy.
Like insult to injury, salt in the wound for sure. Logic bomb out. Ben just got some sneaky plays going on as well. I think they're going to build up to the execute here.
Don't think it's going to be a rush play through construction as we oftentimes see the blitz try to be used in this situation here. As Stokes mentioned, it's a slow, usual execute ultimately. I think the blitz may just be utilized to either get down through one of these pain points a bit more quickly, more than likely back stairs or E-hatch. Could be construction too. Really could send them anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be the usage for it here. Bit of an earlier execute potentially coming in, though, as some players from G2 are starting to head in that direction, and they are getting good intel as well.
Yeah, Blitz is a menace when it comes to CQC combat, and that's exactly where you want him. Something like Elbow works out perfectly. And the other good news is, might not have given up the goods just yet. This info might still be undisclosed to the defense. You can hear Blitz pretty easily, though, so it just kind of depends on what info they've been able to garner. Smoke's out now. That's only going to be against a clone of Doki, though, and Spirits will dispatch quite handedly. So a lot of this round remaining for G2, but we know it's a powder keg that they have waiting here for M80.
Drones in yet again here. G2 trying to play on the info dump. Spirits only just now taking it out. They still have another one pre-established over the top of main stairs, and I don't think Spirits can really spot. It's a little bit out of his vision pane there. If you look at the silhouette, yep, you can see Virtue just slowly try to creep it forward to prevent it getting killed. I think he noticed it now. He just goes for the impact kill on it. That'll work out just as well in this situation. They need to prevent the info bleed. M80 continuing to be stalwart in those positions and not giving over anything to G2. G2 now starting to peek in themselves. The auto-clone in first, just to try to figure out what the layout looks like here as they move forward. And now Alamo rushing it forward. The flash in. Did he get him, though? He's not sure of it there. He has the hand in front of his face, but it's not going to be enough of an indication. He didn't have enough confidence to swing it forward. Ends up going down, and the rest of the execute falls with it. M80 hold the line. Blur is left as the last player standing. A 1v5. The first damage of the round from G2 only just now being claimed. This is not realistic for Blur. M80 look like they're holding on to lock down the basement in a flawless round hold.
Two more, so much better than these guys, bro. Trophy hold.
Well, Vivas was right about one thing. They're going to win the next round, and they're definitely going to head towards kids. So let's see what G2 can do about this. That round not very successful. A lot of build-up for not that much of a payoff. Especially for the elbow play there from Alamo, just really not working out. Able to get the stun on the smoke, but like you said, not having the willingness to try and rush him down after that. Kind of just had to play it out as he knew there was more than likely going to be some supporting angles there for that smoke player. Didn't want to risk it too much, but eventually ended up risking it all, didn't he? As he went for that melee, ended up missing that there and getting blasted by the shotgun. But G2 still with plenty of opportunities to close out things here on Oregon, as they've already guaranteed overtime at a minimum.
The G2 know that they are in a safe position. Question now stands as to whether that's creating a little bit of a lackadaisical approach to some of these rounds, but personally, I doubt it.
10 seconds remaining.
Just putting a thought in your minds as G2 sets themselves up here for another execute to close down upon this game with. Over on the M80 side of things, the usual suspects, at least as far as I'm concerned, minus that Oryx for Gomez, are in play here for the upstairs hold, but considering Gomez's role, should work perfectly fine as far as I'm aware.
I have to agree with you there, John. Weather report looking quite nice here for M80. Looks like we have a heavy thunderstorm with the likes of Oryx moving up to the Middle East. Gomez gonna be standing here, waiting on G2. Not very active play here. They're just gonna play things quite tight-knit on the physical site. Gomez obviously running an op where you can hop through hatches and do a lot of quite explosive maneuvers with his dash, but feeling as though this is going to be played best close to the chest, at least here for the Kids Dorms defense.
G2 playing it slowly. They do not want to trip things up as they went for the all-in execute on the previous round. And hey, the gamble strat, it's attempted with those extra rounds. Good to get a little live test of it, essentially. And it just didn't work out that time. So now they're falling back into a much more normal pattern of execution. Those noises you heard are the breaches that Yag is looking at currently to open things up on the inside of Attic. Alamal claimed the opening kill of the round here as well. Kino goes down to him. So Malusi eliminated, so no important utility going down. Overall, you're not going to have to worry about that with these eliminations against M80 as there's no smoke. No one keeping any crucial utility in the pocket, save for maybe the Nitro sitting on DS there.
There it is, Gomez with a big find, and he's actually going to run out for it. And he's got, no! Gomez! No!
This
Gomez!
is so awkward. What is going on?
Oh my goodness! Am I casting Valorant? What is happening right now? It was ridiculous. Oh my, M80. Almost, I mean, yeah, they might lose us out on this round. What the hell was that, Gomez? Almost gets the kill on the bus player, but Doki, he makes it out alive, and then he dies to Benja as he dashes past him into the lobby, risking everything, risking their entire tournament off of a run out with Oryx.
Oryx, more like Jet with the way he was playing it right there. Dashing out, dashing back in, past another member of the G2 attack that was also on cams. Oh, Benja gonna sink one of the final two remaining as well. It just does not get better for M80. So unfortunate to see the run end like this, but it's not technically over yet. Spirits alone here in the 1v3. That's the clone going down first from Doki. Damage already found against him. They have the intel, and they have the shot to knock him down. G2 close it out in 2-0 fashion and get themselves back onto the main stage of the Six Invitational here in Montreal.
Fantastic play from G2. M80, they go from bad to worse, just like my voice cracked. But G2, it's bad boys for life over here, baby. They are looking so solid, especially with Fabian at the helm, the coach, bringing so much positive play, so much insight to this team, and they are constantly finding success, even up against such talented rosters like M80. And you have got to feel for our pseudo-Brazilian roster in NA.
M80, like we said, keep in mind, this is only the beginning of their journey, truly. Obviously, this roster has a legacy that goes back to the old exit days of last year, where they were able to surprise everyone with their initial performance, not only in Stage 1 of the NAL, but of course, the following majors after that too. I think it's not the last time we're gonna see M80 on a stage like this, and hopefully, next year, maybe their time to push things just a little bit further and on to that main stage event. But for now, we do have to say goodbye to them as they are officially eliminated by G2 as G2 moves onward to their next matchup.
Yeah, super unfortunate, but I mean, either one of these teams, you want them to stick around, right? So many amazing players, huge names, but I mean, G2 just better here and clearly showing it, a 2-0 victory over M80. Somebody finally able to put a collar on this beast from Brazil. So an amazing series that we had here today for G2 and a lot of fun. I don't know about you, John, but I had a pretty good old time.
Yeah, I think we both did. And it was a good series of games overall for us, but that's going to do it for us for the time being, ladies and gentlemen. We'll hopefully be seeing you on Friday in the arena. But for now, it is time to say goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to wait bye-bye, but we are going to go to a break, and we have your analysis desk ready and waiting, of course, to break things down in that matchup and then get you ready for the final game of the day.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
M80 is gone. They're heading home. G2 is victorious. And I'm super excited because right now I am with the MVP, Doki. Oh my gosh, you're so shocked. You're MVP.
I thought you were going to say you're so short.
I would never. How dare you? Though you did ask for the box.
Wait, don't tell them I have a box.
I'm sorry. I mean, you're always his height. And moving on, obviously very excited about this victory for you. How are you feeling about the rest of SI? Are you feeling confident now?
We're feeling good. Like, I think we have the mentality that we're playing until we don't play anymore. Like, that's the mentality we have, like, every game. So it's like one game at a time when we literally are just playing until we don't need to play anymore. So
I like that strategy.
Yeah, you guys have got a fiery attitude. I really like that. It's pretty rolled up in the server with Alamau shouting after every round. How would you describe the playstyle that your team has been going for since you made that roster change? You've already talked a little bit about it, but I'm really interested to hear you talk about the strengths of the players on your team and the strengths of you guys as a team and how you use that in your playstyle.
I mean, I think first of all, we have like 5 great players. Even if the stats don't show that, like we have 5 insane players and they're all very vocal and we're all playing like towards the one goal, which is one of our main strengths. And our playstyle is like kind of a mix, I think, between like different regions, so it's a little bit unpredictable. And one of our one of the main strengths of our team is we can change our playstyle like super fast. Like we can go from like super slow to super fast to like a bit of both, like super fast one places, super slow some places, and it's like really good and it can throw teams off. So, and we have a unique playstyle and it seems to be working. So yeah, main stage.
Nice.
Exciting times. All right, my first question for you is, what's it like sitting next to Alamau?
Oh. I mean, I've been with Carl now for a year, so I'm used to it. But he's one of a kind. He is definitely one of a kind. To be honest, like I would actually hate to play against him. I really would hate to play against him.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's not abuse. It's just like he's just talking, you know, and you just hear him talking in the back, and you're like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
That's genuinely what I think other teams will think. Like, just shut up. But
it's so funny. We're like listening to production, and there's like a tactical timeout for the opposing team, and you can hear Alamau going, "You're so bad," in the background, echoing through the microphones. Oh, so funny. Anyway, second question for you is, so you're gonna rematch Wolves. Actually, you sent those guys down to the lower bracket, and now you've got to try to send them out. You're like pretty much, not out actually. They get you. It's not sending them out. It's sending them to the lower bracket.
No, we will send them.
Knockout.
Oh no, it's a knockout. It's actually out, but on the main stage. Okay, that's exciting, isn't it?
It's because we picked them. We picked them, and then they beat us 2-0. It was 8-7, 8-7.
That's right.
Like
insanely close. So it is actually sending them out.
Yeah, we're sending them out.
Okay, it's dramatic. How do you rate them at the moment? What do you reckon?
I mean, I think they're a great team. First of all, they've been together for a long time. They have great players, so I'm not underestimating them whatsoever. But when they beat us 8-7, 8-7 the other day, I think that game could have went either way. And I also feel like we had some really bad individual performances that day, which since then has been rectified. So I'm not like nervous to play them or anything. Like we've known them for a long time because they're from EU. So I honestly just want to get back in the server and prove to everyone that we shouldn't have lost that 8-7 game. So yeah.
All right, last question. Anything that you want to say to the fans at home?
Same as always. Thank you for the support, obviously. And I will now see you on the main stage. Last time I said I might not see you if I lose, but now I'm going to see you in the main stage. So let's go.
Congrats, man.
Even if we lose in the main stage, I don't care, but I'll see you, so it's fine.
Guillaume and Stitches over here. Thank you so much for that fantastic interview, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Victory.
Good luck, guys.
All right, time to put the analyst desk in the hot seat. See you, Doki.
Right.
That'll do, Doki.
In a box. He just stepped down. Anyway, moving on. He got a big personality, though, and we love him to pieces. But all right, map 1, Villa, Dev. M80 up 5-1, and then G2 takes that tack timeout.
I mean, I'm going to stop you at the start there. M80 up 5-1. They looked nuts, Jackie. Yeah. We were worried. I remember, Mandy, you turned to me and you're like, Dev, this isn't good for G2. Yeah. 5-1 was a nut start. And then G2, they take their tactical timeout at the 4-2 deficit. They didn't convert the round. But we've seen this before. In that infamous timeout from Fabian where he just really went in on the team, it's the same thing that happened. They lose the first round and then they manage 5 in a row. And that's exactly when Alamau was yelling at the enemy team, you guys are so bad. It was insane. They just kept contesting.
Love it. Mandy, this was really back and forth, really close rounds.
Yeah, I think the thing between these two teams was that like every single round came down to this mid round, which was like a 2-on-2 or a 2-on-3 or a 3-on-3 or something like that. It really tested the smaller scale problem solving of both of these teams, in my opinion. By the time you get to the mid round, you've maybe lost a hard breach, maybe you've lost a set of nades. You've got to work with what you have. And I think G2 sort of just started edging out on top, especially when they switched over to their defending half. They knew how to dial it back and play really disciplined Villa, especially when they're a little bit down. And they're a little bit down on players, but not down in the man count. I think ultimately, yeah, G2, they played the more experienced Villa. And I think it just showed in the server.
I want to go over to map 2 now, and Mandy, honestly, kind of the same story. Am I wrong? M80 just getting edged out by their masters, right? We're joking, the student master thing. Remember that? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jackie.
I know.
Oh, Jackie. Yeah, I think actually very similar thing. Oregon is one of those maps that like a lot of teams are playing it very similarly, you know? It's one of those maps that macro-wise doesn't change too much between the teams. Really, rounds get won and lost in those like really high crunch, high traffic areas where you've got like a lot of gunfights simultaneously. You've sort of got to like put yourself into the belly of the beast and play out those trades. I think ultimately G2 had a little bit more composed trade game than what M80 did, and as a result, you've got things like dropping E-box hatch to take pillar control, trying to get lower attic control, all those like positions where you're sort of putting yourself in a bad spot. You've just got to win out that gunfight. Just felt like G2 edged out on top of those kinds of things.
Yeah, I really felt the same, Mandy.
Yeah.
It felt like those mid rounds were always so chaotic, and it ended up with these 3v3s, these tight situations in the end rounds. And what that means is a lot of the time these players are getting put in positions where they have to clutch. There were 3 clutches this game. In the very first round, we saw a fantastic 1 versus 3 from Yoga. And then we saw 2 other clutches on the second map. Here's a replay of just the 3 clutches we've got. Yoga was nuts. Like, you should never be winning this. There's a minute left to go. 1v3, he didn't even find a kill with the C4. Dang. And yet he manages to land this one, let alone the next 2 on map 2.
Yeah, I don't know. This was pretty nuts. Like when I saw Yoga do this, you can even see G2 go here. All right, we can go for kill. We've got like 40 seconds left. We could play the 2-on-1, and nope, Yoga's around the corner already. Takes that one. I can't get the trade. It's just nuts from them.
All right, and we have a couple more in the docket, correct?
We do. This one is a bit longer than I remember, but it just goes to show that in this situation, like, it just becomes so tight at the end of the rounds when teams are looking to... Oh, there you go. There's a second one. And that's all of them. There you go. Well,
okay.
On the other ones, there was some fantastic 1v2s from Alamau and Virtua on the second map. And overall, I just think that G2, even though Yoga did manage that really tight one on the first, I think that it was in map 2 when G2 are whittling down the man count in the mid round. They're holding out these clutches in the late rounds. It makes a huge difference being able to pull out hero players like that.
Yeah, and Dev, we got to give you some credit here. You predicted this.
Technically,
Remember?
I did say...
G2-0. We were like, oh,
he said
what?
I'm going to like reveal the magic a little bit here.
Okay.
I was kind of just going for a hot take. Like, I didn't actually think it was going to be a 2-0. I did think G2 were favored, but I was kind of just looking to rile people up with the 2-0. Yeah. But hey, now I look cool, so I'll take it.
Clutch is definitely having an impact there for sure, though, so I'm glad you brought that up. But Mandy, let's talk about how everything is played out today and take a look at the bracket. Some thrilling action throughout the day, so let's roll that up here really quickly. Anything sticking out to you in particular, though?
Anything sticking out? Honestly, this matchup to me is sticking out. Yeah, that was a really fun matchup to watch. All of the matchups actually been quite enjoyable to watch. But this one in particular, yeah, it's been really exciting.
Mandy's so nice. She's like, oh, they've all been good.
Yeah, look, they have all been good, but this one in particular...
7-0 though, right?
Yeah, okay, look, that was scary,
I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just saying.
I don't know if that was good or scary, Jackie. I don't know how to feel about those kinds of things, right? Whereas this G2 match was like, that was some good siege, you know? That was some good siege. It was very back and forth. 2 teams that sort of emulate a very similar play style as well. That was awesome to watch, right? Whereas that's 7-0. Scary times, okay? I do not want to be in that world.
The thing that really surprised me earlier today, aside from obviously W7M making it a bit easier against Koi than it probably should have been, was OXG winning in their first game. OXG played incredibly well, and, you know, after Astralis gets knocked out, you know, in just a couple of hours, they'll be the only team left from NA.
You know what? I would usually be giving Dev a hard time about this, but his prediction was right earlier, so I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here. Really quickly, I would like to bring the camera back to Mandy, if we could do that. Mandy, it has been an absolute honor working with you. This is our first time working together. This is your first SI on the broadcast, so I just wanted to give you an opportunity to speak to those at home and say thank you, or whatever you want to say. It's all yours.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, y'all throwing me on the spot. I did not get told that this segment was going to happen from either of them, so thank you so much to everyone who's been watching from home. We're from APAC and we don't often come to like talk about all these crazy EU and NA teams and get to see all of you guys on the stage. So from everyone back at home, whether from Australia, from overseas, getting to know us, thanks so much for having us both on the stage. Me in particular, you're going to continue working it, but me, yes, it's the last time you're going to see me on the broadcast. So thank you so much for having me.
Your enthusiasm is infectious. You're incredibly knowledgeable, and you're also a wonderful person. And I've really enjoyed working with you. I'm not going to get emotional, so we're going to go to a break. Okay, we're going to be back in a little bit. We got another series to talk about. She's amazing. Don't take her away from me. No, no.